Okay, so the discussion that's been going on at if you become a non-doer, meaning get rid of your ego, then the suffering can end. It's not that simple, uh, because ego is which also makes us survive. Because ego is something we are born with, and there has to be some reason at the nature level that we have ego. We need to protect ourselves, and that's how we can grow and carry on the genetic information to the next lineage and all those things. So ego is important. At the same time, we also know that ego is the cause of suffering because ego is an individualism. I am individual and so are you. And inevitably, we run into frictions. So frictions are there, competition is there, superior complex, inferior complex, all things are there. If you meet your goal, you're happy and you suppress others. If you don't meet your goal, you feel depressed, anxiety. So all these things are there in the society and it's getting worse and worse. So if you really boil down to ultimately all these frictions are because of the ego. So individualism always extends into suffering. So we know that we need to transcend the ego, get rid of the ego, whatever it is, but we need to deal with the ego. The question is, why do we have ego in the first place? Because if you really look at it genetically speaking and evolutionary speaking, we all came from the other animals. And all the other animals being in a jungle, they have their capacity to save themselves in one way or the other. Like if you look at a deer's baby, as soon as the baby is born and it starts walking, it has a capacity to save itself from the predator. The same thing happens, like the fish can swim out away from you, try to catch the fish. So if a human baby is born in a jungle, it has no chance of survival unless protected by the parents. If you leave a newborn baby, there's nothing it can do. So we are literally suppressed in the animal kingdom from various animals, and each animal has its own way of survival. Today we went on a hike, and then was discussing with a friend because the area where we were in there is a lot of beaver activity. So the beaver it fells the trees and then they go into the water and then it makes a nest for its own babies. And the nest is made in the water lakes or reservoirs or something. This happens to be a reservoir. So all these places where it builds the nest, it brings the twigs from the fallen trees and everything, so that some scientifically it's been shown that he maintains the temperature of 62 degrees inside this nest to protect its babies, and it makes a very nice soft bed for the babies and all these things. And how does it do that? It doesn't have strength of the arms or legs or anything like that. Its strength lies on the two teeth. If you look at the pictures of beavers, their two teeth, front teeth, are iron coated. They are orange in color, and the orange color comes from iron oxide. So nature has given beaver a means to survive, and this is the way it survives. It literally eats out the stems or the barks of the tree and cuts the whole tree down. In a matter of few days, it can bring the whole tree down. And if we have to do it, it will. One, we need tools, but without the tools, we cannot do anything. An eagle flying almost a mile away, it can notice a single tiny snake going on the ground. We can hardly see few feet away in front of us. So our eyesight is poor. Our we don't have strength like lion. He can hunt on his own, no problem. He has the claws. He has the incisor teeth. So all these things are there. They have to. They have a way of making their own life in their own way. Birds can fly away. Some of them fly away very fast. Leopards can run 90, 100 miles an hour. Who knows? We are helpless. So we were born in an environment where we were helpless. So that sets in a fear. And fear now, after thousands and thousands of years, it's built into our DNA now. So we are always going to be afraid. We're always going to be afraid. Now, we have actually left the jungle. We have come into the society. We don't even need to protect ourselves. But the fear factor, which is built into our DNA, keeps on going. Now, we don't have to worry about lions and tigers or attacking us, nothing. We have made enough arrangements and all that. But what do we do about the fear? The fear is still there. So this fear turns into ego, that I have to protect myself. Why do you want to protect yourself? Because you have fear. It's simple as that. So whole ego, the cycle of a whole complex labyrinth of ego is based on one thing. We feel insecure. We feel we're going to die. We're going to die. We're going to die. So what we do is we keep on protecting ourselves. And for that, we keep on inventing newer and newer instruments so that we can be protected. We have a burglar alarms and the cameras and all around, and we want to protect ourselves. Why do we want to protect ourselves? Because we fear that somebody will attack and will die. So ultimately, it's the fear of death. So all the instruments which are invented, they are basically extension of our eyesight. For example, if you look at the eyes have a limited distance, so we invented binoculars. Now we can look at through the binoculars if the enemies are coming or not. We could not fly, so now we have airplanes. But what do we use them for? Yes, we use it for transportation and all that, but we use it for war. So wars are basically destruction of somebody else that you perceive that you are afraid of because you don't want to die. And so does the other side, also doesn't want to die. So keep stacking it up, more and more weapons and more fights and more wars, and all these things keep on happening. Our ego doesn't want to be defeated. It wants to survive. It wants to survive. And survive and do what? It doesn't know. Because ego is an illusion. It is created out of fear. So what do? We cannot become animals because we are weak. We are weaklings in the world of real wild animals. And these wars that we keep on building up in our society, they are not just limited between the societies. Between the countries, we fight among ourselves also. All we need is a reason to fight. If we don't find any reason, then we'll pick up a fight, say, okay, you are Hindu and I'm Muslim, or vice versa. Or you are Jewish and I'm Christian, vice versa. So all these things keep on going. So all we need to is, supposing you put all the Jains together, for example, or all Hindus together, they will find out a reason to fight with each other. Say, I am the Shastri Mali and you are Vishastri Mali. I am Deravasi and you are Sthanakvasi. All those things, fights keep on going. There is a city named Sitapur in Maharashtra. There is a fight going on between Deravasi and the Sthanakvasi, because they both want to worship Digambar and Swetambar. I meant the Swetambar and Digambar. So both of them, there is only one Jain temple there, and they keep on fighting, and the fight has been going on for over 20 years now. And because they both claim on that same Derasar. Now, they used to have mutual arrangement that up until 12 o'clock, Sthanakvasi, the Swetambar can do it, and after 12 o'clock, Digambars can worship Mahavir. There's only one statue. There's nothing we can do about it. But then, one time it happened that Swetambar extended their puja for some extra time, and the fight broke out. That why did you take our time? And this is a non-violent Jain religion. So the Digambar started fighting with the Swetambar and all those things, and fight did not end, and it went to the court, and the court, it did not subside because there is money on both sides. So they spent so much money in the name of lawyers and court system, and finally it went to Supreme Court, and all those things, and still going on as far as I know. I don't know whether it's resolved or not. So the court said we have to observe, we have to look at the statue of Mahavir. So they won't go to the temple, so the Mahavir had to be transported. And in those days, the transportation was only rickshaw. So, so Mahavir had to be set in the rickshaw to go to the Supreme Court. And the whole thing was because the Svetambar, and I don't know the difference much, but they have something to do with the eyelashes. So Svetambar's Jain has eyes closed and Digambar's have eyes open or something like that. So somebody, before the statue was going to go to the court, somebody sneaked in and they put the fake eyelashes on it, plaster. And they suddenly, the opposite side noticed. And they said, this is not valid, this and that. So to make the story short, even among the Jains, they can fight. We always find some reason to fight, no matter what. So I'm taller, you're shorter. All. So the question is, what do we do about it? The ego is based on the fear of death. So the only solution there is to get rid of the fear of death. Because the wars are consuming us. And these are not just the wars between countries or not even between religions, even among friends. Friends fight, husband and wife fight. All these are, in a subtle way, these are all wars. And all caused by ego. So the only way you can do is the spiritual way, is to transcend the ego and realize its illusory nature. The only time you go deep within and transcend your mind, because that's what is holding the fear, and that's what is holding the aggression, that is what is holding the ego. The seat of our suffering is hidden in the ego, in the mind itself. And ego is, like I said, it's necessary. But a seed also has a shell when it is born. But at some point, you put it in the soil, it sees the favorable conditions, and then it starts sprouting. It walks away from its shell. If it remains in the shell, a tree cannot happen. So we all are locked in the shell of ego, and we don't want to give it up. And we keep on fighting. And fights are gonna go on forever because it's built into our DNA. But spirituality is a lot higher than the DNA because it does not accept the nature as it is. Nature made us that way, yes, and we understand that. But there is a way to go higher. Because what happened was animals, when they exist, but they don't know that they exist, their intelligence, their consciousness is not raised to that level. So they are not afraid. You will never see any crookedness or anger on the animal's face. You look at this lion, it kills, but look at the face, is still innocent. They live in innocence. They don't know that they're going to die. Instinctively, they save themselves, but we know we're going to die. So our consciousness has evolved to that level that, yes, we're going to die, but we know that we're going to die. So we know that we are alive. Animals know that they're alive, but they don't know. They just behave naturally as if nothing has changed. But we know that we are alive and life can turn into death. And that is the biggest step that took from animals to the human beings. So what do? We cannot handle the stress or sufferings, frictions, everything. So what do? We drown ourselves into these objects of pleasure. You drink a couple of glasses of beer here and there and all that. We drown ourselves. We keep ourselves busy in this entertainment industry or these hobbies and that hobby. And we try to forget. We try to forget our deep-seated fear. But it doesn't disappear. As soon as the beer runs out or the alcohol runs out or drugs run out, what do? Same fear creeps up again. It's a perpetual thing. The only solution is to become fearless. And fearlessness will happen only when you transcend the mind. But what happens when you transcend the mind? You come across the consciousness. Yes, you find the consciousness, but that's not enough. You imbibe yourself. You immerse yourself in the consciousness. You become the consciousness. And what is consciousness? It is the life itself. When you trace the consciousness just deeply enough, You experience the flow of life itself, a life that is perpetual, that is eternal, that can never die. And that's where you become fearless, that there is no death. Death to the body, yes. Death to the DNAs, yes. Death to the, you know, the genetics, death to the chromosomes, doesn't matter. The whole world gets destroyed, the death to the universe even, but you will never die. This fearlessness has to be developed to this spiritual sadhana, and ultimately the life manifests itself. When it manifests, it gives you a guarantee that there is no death. Death itself is an illusion. So much for today. So that's the solution. Thank you. And I will stop recording.